Welcome to Shonen Flop Chibi, a first impressions mini-episode where we talk about the first chapter of the series we'll be covering in depth next week. I'm Jordan, and with me today, as usual, is my co-host David. Say hi, David.
Hi, David.
What series are we covering this week, David?
You gotta book 'em all. We're covering Bokke-san.
Oh, God. We certainly fucking are.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, this one was, it was shit. Yeah, it was not good. Power word. This sucked.
Yeah, we're not even gonna hide it. It's gonna be so blatant, like, from the start, the quality of this series. Really no point in even just dancing around it, you know?
Yeah, but to tell a little bit more about this series, it was created by Nishi Yoshiyuki, and it was 18 chapters over 2 volumes. So, Jordan, at least mercifully, it is short. Imagine if we had to read like 30 chapters of this.
Oh, I don't know, David. These chapters seem a little long.
Oh, fuck. I thought this ran in Jump.
Maybe it's because they're just impossible to follow. At least this first chapter just felt significantly longer than I was expecting.
Every series in Shonen Jump has like a triple chapter.
Okay, that's true. All right.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that the length is not consistent throughout the whole thing, or else I will tear my goddamn hair out. You want me to get into the goddamn plot summary?
Yeah, I really appreciate you messaging me like, David, what the fuck happened in this? And I said, I have no goddamn idea either.
I mean, I'll just get into it. Here's the fucking plot summary, listener. Hinamiya Mitsura is a kid who doesn't know what he wants to do with his life until he saves a little girl whose mom was killed by a Bokke-san, which is a weird demon thing, and he does this by turning into a Bokke-san cat demon. Then he decides that, oh, actually, I want to be a hero. Now kind of just imagine that, but with a ton of completely incomprehensible bullshit, and then he also uses telekinesis to cheat at bowling, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Weirdly, his teacher is like fully aware of his powers, but no one else is, and he like casually uses in front of people, so I'm not quite sure how this whole system works. I also am very confused. Is this like a translation thing and these are yokai, or is this a completely separate thing? Because I googled Bokke-san and I couldn't find anything. So hopefully Tucker will have some details of what the fuck a Bokke-san is.
I have no idea, but I can tell you that this series feels like it was translated very poorly.
Oh yeah, this series is actually from like 2009, so this is actually like an elder. Yeah, it's an elder millennial. It's an elder manga.
Maybe that's why it really feels so much like Beachy.
Maybe, actually, yeah. Yeah, so but Beachy was 10 years older than this.
And had better art,
yeah.
Honestly. Oh my god, this is...
Yeah, this is
not good.
So, yeah, I assume we're now officially in the first impressions. But
first impressions, yeah.
Yeah, the art is rough. Backgrounds are half drawn. Like, if you're not the explicit person in focus, you do not have your face drawn. So everyone looks like they don't have faces.
The faces look like they were just doodled. Like, freehand with a pen by a guy who's, like, didn't really think about it too hard. These drawings are not solid.
Yeah.
Ugh, like Beast Children looks better than this series, I would say.
Yeah, so this series, though, it's really interesting that sometimes you see a series and you're like, this looks like if the art style of X series, if the artist was worse. And this reminds me a lot of Dungeon Meshi, where it has like a very similar like facial proportion and style, but Dungeon Meshi is just drawn substantially more competently. Like there's a cat boy, cat girl in that series that straight up looks like a character from this series, but just drawn way better.
You know, I kind of weirdly got a Naruto fan comic vibe.
Yeah.
The way that this guy, or at least attempted to draw faces and clothes, where I was like, okay, I could see if a much better artist tried doing this, it would look a lot like Naruto's art style.
You just have that on your mind because of Totally Not Mark.
I did not watch that video yet.
Really? I really wonder what he's going to do, because Naruto just gets way worse after the Chunin exam.
I mean, Naruto is a series of peaks and valleys. It's got its positives throughout there.
Sure.
Someone did point out that Zabuza might have been, like, the peak of the series, and I don't know how much I disagree with that, to be honest.
I mean, if you say Chunin exam, it's literally the next arc, so...
Yeah.
The point is that Naruto was at its best in the first, like, 10 volumes.
I mean, you know, again, I really like, I like Jiraiya when Jiraiya shows up and shit, but yeah, this is not a Naruto podcast, but my god, it's tough to figure out what to fucking say about Bokke-san because it's incomprehensible.
Yeah, I also just want to point out Jiraiya showed up during the Chunin exam arc.
What? No,
Yeah, Naruto uses summoning when he fights, what's his name?
Orochimaru?
No, not Orochimaru. Who's the sand guy? Why is his name?
Gaara.
Yeah, he uses summoning versus Gaara, and he summons a toad. Where do you think he learned how to summon a toad? He just didn't learn the Rasengan yet, but he learned summoning from Jiraiya during the Chunin exam.
Oh, dude, I don't remember, like, anything about...
Bruh, it was only 15 years ago. How do you not remember this?
Yeah, right? Was that 15 years ago, or was it 15 years ago since, like, Naruto ended? I don't even know when Naruto happened anymore. Who fucking cares?
Man, this would be the perfect series that we could have just, like, we made that joke for Fanster. This would have been the series where we just talked about Chainsaw Man and, like, things we actually like for, like, 45 minutes instead.
Yeah.
But, I legitimately had to fight to think of positives, so I think that having a mute main character is an original idea. It's clearly not handled.
Is he mute?
What?
Is he mute?
Yeah, he explicitly say he doesn't talk.
But then he does talk.
When does he talk? I thought it was all self-narration.
No, there's a point where he does talk, and then somebody's like, "Oh wow, you said something."
Oh, fuck.
See, like I don't know.
All right, so then this series does absolutely nothing that I think is remotely good.
So the only thing is that sometimes, in comparison to other drawings in this series, the drawings look pretty good. But only in comparison to the shittier drawings around it.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is just like a sequence of dialogue from one of the panels. I just want to read it in order.
Sure.
Inspector Yano, please excuse us for being late. Bowling? No, yes. Why are they revealing that? And listener, you have exactly as much ability to figure out what the fuck they were talking about as I did when I read it.
I will say, though, that we do have a note from T. Wolfwood, our Oracle listener. Thank you for being a patron, being able to listen to our recording. Pointing out, yeah, this series is just known for having a really shit translation. And they said, actually, the translation gets worse as it goes on.
Nice! Oh, fuck yeah! Oh, is this gonna get into Pokemon Vietnamese Crystal territory?
It very well could. Oh, man, what was the name of that? Like, someone translated Star Wars, The Revenge of the Sith, into Chinese and then back, and you got, like, a lot of really great dialogue. Like, that's where do not want comes from, because the scene where Darth Vader goes, no, got translated as do not want.
It's really good. I know what you're talking about. It had a really funny name. I forget what it is. A.T. Wolfwood, can you find it for us? No, you don't have to.
Just the Du Wang translation of part 4.
Yeah, but that's exactly like what it is, except the thing is that this dialogue is so confusing that even though it's probably a little bit more easy to understand in Japanese, I doubt it's good, you know?
I mean, that doesn't take away from the fact that the art doesn't make any sense. The paneling is atrocious. Everything is so cramped. Some characters, you can't even see their faces properly because they're just trying to jam so many panels in. And, like, nothing happens. So I don't know why the author felt like he had to really force it. This isn't One Piece where you're tracking 15 characters. Like, Oda is allowed to literally cram as much content as he can in each chapter because he has so much to do. Each arc would be twice as long as if he didn't optimize the fuck out of every single arc or every single chapter.
Yeah, I was going to say Oda does not optimize the fuck out of every arc, but also Oda knows how to make comics in, like, a coherent way, you know? Like, he's a pro in, like, a way that few people match, but, like, you don't have to be as good as Oda to do a better job than this.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. I mean, I pointed out to David, there's a character. Oh, there's like just this girl who has a crush on him, maybe not. Maybe she's taking advantage of his psychic powers to cheat at bowling and hustle some people. I don't know. But, like, her face looks like Gomez's face.
Yeah.
But it's, like, serious. Like, it's not funny in the way that Gomez's face is. It's just ugly.
Right?
Oh my god, like, there's so much shit that happens in here, and yet nothing that happens in here.
Yeah. This is really going to compete with SWAT, I feel, for the series with the most manga about nothing. So it's a shame we've already used a Seinfeld parody. But we do have a pretty good idea of another well-known series that was absolutely atrocious that we might be using. So points to anyone who guesses what I'm thinking is a potential cover art.
Wow, did David just say that Seinfeld was, like, atrocious? That's a...
Oh, fuck off.
That's a hot take.
Shut up. You know what I'm talking about, you silly Billy. Also, just get into it, one other thing that I fucking hate a lot is when the pilots have flashbacks. Like, what was the point? You could have just shown that and then flash forward to the modern day. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever to have a flashback in your first chapter.
Especially just, like, you can explore the backstory a little bit later, too. Why don't you just focus on showing us some kind of compelling narrative in the here and now, you know? You gotta focus on what's right in front of us, guys. Come on, be in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to point out one of my favorite moments in this.
Yeah.
This little girl's mom is killed, and she's cut in half brutally, and the cops are just like, the victim's cause of death was being cut in half and blood loss.
I posted that in the Discord in the no context manga panels because I was like, wow, that is absolutely just an amazing piece of dialogue.
God, I feel like there's a famous parody somewhere where it's of like a mystery novel where it's just like there's a guy with a knife in his back and it's like cause of death, knife in the back. Like, yeah, no shit. You see somebody cut in half, dude. You don't have to tell us that she died from being cut in half.
It's making me think of that scene from Scary Movie 3 or 4 where the guy like finds out his wife was like cut in half in a car accident. And then he's like, but can I like still, she makes like a sex thing. And that was just like a really fucking weird scene where he's like, can I still fuck my dead wife? Which actually, what the fuck was that joke actually thinking about in hindsight?
Scary Movie 3.
Okay, so I didn't imagine that scene being in Scary Movie.
I haven't seen Scary Movie 3. I'm just assuming because that does seem like a joke that would be in Scary Movie 3.
The most underappreciated of the Scary Movies.
How do people feel versus Scary Movie 4?
I think people think 4 is shit. My personal is 1, 3, 2, 4. But we can make our Scary Movie tier list at some point.
I've only seen 2.
This is actually the second podcast episode in a row we've talked about Scary Movie.
Is it?
Yeah, because we talked about it. Because remember, I was comparing different types of parody when
Right. Yeah.
So maybe that's our new Gomez where we just talk about it every episode.
Our new Ice Shield 21.
So we did actually talk about Gomez in this episode already.
We already did.
Also, it's got a teenager with giant boobs.
Yep, it absolutely does, which is, it's 2000s manga. Like, it really is just like, what the fuck else do you even say about this fucking thing? It's just like, it's so hard to get a grasp on. I feel like I'm watching like an even more incomprehensible Xavier Renegade Angel.
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel someone can make something this bad ironically, but this was just played straight. This could have been some like avant-garde manga. Or outsider art.
What it felt like was like one of David Lynch's particularly weird and out there movies, but like without any redeemable artistic value.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching Inland Empire, but there isn't even anything cool happening at all. Like, unbelievable. Just, I can't even... Oh, I did want to say, you mentioned Scary Movie 3, but the movie that her getting cut in half reminded me of was, I Halved Myself, Dewey.
I have no idea what you're referencing.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
That's a great movie.
So good.
That's a good candidate for movie night, actually.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that movie again. But yeah, her mom halves herself because I think her mom got possessed by the Bokke-san or something, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. But you know what I do know is I don't want to really talk about the series anymore. So can we move on to the next section, please?
Yeah, because regardless of I don't know if I physically can talk about this series, about this chapter at least anymore. So let's move on to the next part. So David, what do you think is going to happen next?
All right, so here are my 3 guesses. A friend is introduced to be a damsel in distress and gains powers. An evil human character that works for the monsters and isn't well explained. The female main character gains some powers but is never as effective as the main male character.
Were all of those Phantom Seer guesses too?
Yes, it was. I really wanted to see if you would notice.
Oh, those really were Phantom Seer?
Yeah, that's literally verbatim what my guesses for Phantom Seer were. And I was like, yeah, fuck it, yeah. Yeah, it's actually, these all work as well for this series.
Well, yeah, because I was even wondering how you got 3 guesses, because it was like, I feel like I needed to understand this chapter more to make guesses. The only guess that I really had and was solid on was, this is going to be a really, really annoying and stupid racism metaphor.
Oh my god. So I was watching spoilers for No Time to Die, but I'll just be vague. So there's a scene where they're like trying to rescue a scientist. And then the scientist and the agent is black. And the scientist says something racist, so she drops him off a platform so he dies.
That's praxis, baby.
She was like really hated him, and then he said something racist, so she just kills him.
All I can really do for my next guesses are, it's going to end with a time skip, and it's going to be a certified flop.
Wow, hot take central.
Hot take! Hey man, I don't know for sure. Well, I can barely parse what the fuck is happening in this series, man.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. So Jordan, though, would you read 10 more chapters?
No, God, oh God, no, this was painful to get through. This was just bewildering. So how about you, David, though? Would you read 10 chapters?
How about you fuck off, because I would not.
Really? What a shock.
Absolutely.
What's your power word?
What?
What's your power word? No, I get it, yeah.
I feel like it would have been great if we had done that loop maybe 2 or 3 times.
What's your power word?
What?
What's your power word?
What?
Exactly. My power word
is who?
Is shut up. My power word is clutter, because my God, the thing about this series, one of the things that makes it so hard to figure out is that there's just stuff going on in every panel, like every bit of space, and it is all hard to figure out. There's a ton of dialogue boxes that don't make any sense next to each other. It's just like impossible to follow. You need to cut out like over half the drawings in this manga just to make it readable.
And that's the crazy thing, is that he could have drawn less and it would have been better, so then he could have put more effort into what he drew anyway.
Less is more, and it's really hard to do that when you're starting out.
Yeah, more or less.
Exactly, more or less.
Big league.
Anyway, you want to move into Q&A? Because I don't got anything else to say about this.
Yeah, but we do have some fans that have quite a few things to say. So let's start with Xylon, who says, which flop series would have made the best gacha game if it had succeeded?
Golem Hearts.
Golem Hearts. Why?
Remember, the way that series works is that there's a bunch of different little golems, but we only got a couple of them because the series didn't last long. But I feel like if it had kept going, there would have been like a bunch of little dudes that you probably could have gotten in a gacha game.
You know, that makes sense. I actually think Candy Flurry would have been good, because literally there's already like one that's pretty much Candy Flurry as a gacha game, so they could have just reskinned it, which we talked about in the show. I forget the name of it, but Chip was talking about it, how like Level 5 has a game that has a pretty similar concept to the series anyway.
Right. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. I mean, you could get like different candy weapons and stuff like that. Ooh, you could even have like an edible component. That'd be cool.
Fucking weed. Oh man, T Wolfwood says Morking.
Yeah, that's what I
T Wolfwood says Morking, by the way. That's a good pick.
That's not a bad one. I also like the idea of physical like gacha machines.
You have to find bugs and scan them.
Exactly.
That's actually a cool idea if they partnered up with like zoos.
Yeah, hey kids, here's some bugs.
Yeah. Oh man. Next question is, speaking of T Wolfwood, here's your contractually required that we answer one of your questions every episode. Because he is a level 3 patron. Notably the only level 3 patron who submits this question, so keep up the good work.
Oh yeah.
What series are you currently keeping up with? And I assume just by the nature of that question, let's just limit it to, I guess, Weekly Shonen Jump, because otherwise I'll be here all day telling you what I follow right now.
I'm very easy, because I don't really, I don't read manga. The fuck is manga? No, funnily enough, the most recent series that I've been keeping up with is PPP.
Oh, fuck off. Even Reddit's like, this series fucking sucks.
It does, it sucks. But it's like, I like it for the same reason that I like Birdemic or something. Like, it is a bad series, but I'm kind of just fascinated to see the bizarre ways in which it's bad.
So how would you say this series is like not fun to read, ironically, while that was?
Are you asking me why PPP is more fun than this?
Yes.
Yeah, well, first of all, you could follow PPP. You could follow it pretty, like, decently. It's not, like, super confusing. It's just stupid in, like, really weird ways. Whereas this one, I don't even know what the fuck I'm reading. I can barely tell you what happened in this chapter that we just read. Whereas I can at least tell you what happened in... I'm just gonna call it Pianissimo, whatever the fuck. What about you, David? What series are you following besides One Piece? Because that's fucking obvious.
So, let's see. We got High School Family, Dr. Stone, Jujutsu Kaisen, Mago-chan, Mashal, My Hero Academia, Sakamoto Days, Hunter's Guild Red Hood, and, of course, One Piece.
I am, overall, I am following Sakamoto Days and Red Hood and One Piece, but the thing is, I read in bursts, so, I will just not read any manga for, weeks and then read a bunch in, 1 week, you know? So, I'll catch up to all those series after a bit. I promise, David, I promise. Don't cancel me.
Also, I'm not sure why it didn't update in my list today, but I also read Mission Family, which, that series is really weird, so I'm just kind of reading it just to see what they'll do, because I've never seen a series more blatant that the author is making it up as he goes. But he's trying to make, this complex spy, and, without any pre-planning, it just doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time, but it's still just very weird. It's just a fun read to see how he's trying to pretend like he planned it.
Kind of like DBZ.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right, so next question is from Yaji Black. Any flop series you think may have been successful if they'd start out as an anime instead? I likewise actually know what my answer is because we kind of said it in the episode itself.
I don't think this was what we were talking about, but I kind of think Samurai 8 could have worked if it started out as an anime.
That's an interesting one. Why do you think so?
It looks really cool, and I think that if it was in motion, a lot of the... Because one of the big issues is that the visuals just got kind of confusing. But if there was color and things were moving around, it would be a lot easier to follow, and I think that like a lot of the art design would stand out a lot more.
That makes sense. Mine actually is kind of in a similar space where I thought that Candy Flurry, because we talked about that series, yeah. If that series was full color, it would have been really, really fun to read. So, I mean, making an anime is actually probably the easiest way you could have made a full, because I don't think, and maybe someone on the Shonen Flop Discord can tell me, but I don't think there's anything that prints full color manga like they do with American comics.
Yeah, I really don't know enough about the different publications in Japan, so I can't really say, but I definitely can see that. I would love a Candy Flurry OVA. I really want to see the Gigantor fight.
Yeah.
It was so good.
A stretch goal. After we make the Shonen Flop the anime opening, we'll commission an episode of Candy Flurry.
Oh man, Shonen Flop anime opening, the $1,000 a month goal.
Yes. Next one comes from Hassan. If you had to swap offers to fix a flop, who would you swap and why? This is an interesting question, actually, that I'm not really sure off the top of my head what I would say. Do you have a thought?
I do. And I thought about this for a bit, and I'm pretty satisfied with my answer. I would have the author of Mora King write Teenage Renaissance David.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Time Paradox, where I was like, yeah, let's trade offers from the best series we ever read.
I mean, that might be kind of interesting, but no, that isn't what I'm saying. Because the thing about Teenage Renaissance David is that one thing I really would have liked was if the author delved more into the Renaissance art aspect. Like, there are a lot of jokes about it, but what if, like, instead of piss, there were, like, more in-depth art historical references? Maybe it could teach you some things about art history in the same way that Mora King teaches you weird things about bugs.
I like it. I'm going to go with a really, really weird choice. You ready for this?
I'm bracing myself.
I think the creator of Golem Hearts would have done a really good job with Hell Warden. Because I think that like introspective, thinking about redemption, just having strong characterization were all things that went well with Golem Hearts. And Golem Hearts was really limited more so by just the art. And I think that he was perfectly competent. So if he did the writing and the Hell Warden artist just kept doing the art, I think that actually could have been a very solid series.
Oh, that's an interesting way to turn it around, where you just have, where instead of swapping, you just have like, hey, you guys, you're now part of a team.
Yeah.
So you do that. Yeah. No, I can see that. I definitely see where you're going with that. Because, yeah, the issue with those series is that there was just, like, they definitely weren't trash. It was just they were missing some key levels of polish that really dragged them down.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of instances of artists where the art, they just couldn't do both.
Yeah, and hey, I get it. It's tough.
It's really tough.
It's really fucking tough, especially with the massive like crunch that Shonen Jump just has you under each month. Like, it's brutal. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of shocked that more artists and writers don't team up. Like, they do that in American comics. It's way more common, you know?
I think maybe, I wonder if it's like a pride thing, because you have to just be like, oh, I'm just not good at writing, you know?
It might be a pride thing, or it might just be an issue where maybe a lot of artists are kind of socially anxious and not really excited to be on teams. I don't know what I know about that. That's such a weird thing for me to suggest, of all people, you know?
Yeah. This reminds me, we still gotta at some point do an episode about the comic we were working on before we decided to do Shonen Flop instead, and maybe we'll make a pilot for that.
Yeah, I guess. We didn't get very far on that.
That can be one of our stretch goals.
Maybe, or maybe we'll take that secret to our grave. No, we should just do an episode on Pizza Boy. Why don't we just make a Pizza Boy manga?
Dude, that was the best idea. So for context, listeners, I had the idea about a platformer where you were a pizza boy delivering pizza to the gods of Olympus. The main opus was that your health bar was a pizza.
Yeah.
And so as you took more damage, the pizza would be eaten. So that was a pretty fucking rad idea we came up with, like, maybe, at this point, 10 years ago? 15 years ago, actually?
Definitely more than 10 years ago. Yeah, like 15 is more like it, yeah.
I keep forgetting I wasn't in high school 10 years ago.
Right?
Fuck.
How fucking weird is that? No, I had a lot of fun drawing that. Like the designs for that series just came very quickly. Like we had what was it? We had Loki, who was you're right.
Can't tell anyone about the Pegasus.
Yeah, can't tell anybody about the
Pegasus. We had some really fucking good ideas. All right, yeah. How about if we get another 5 patrons by the end of November? We'll do a mini episode talking about perhaps the best project Jordan and I ever worked on together.
Yes.
Ask your friends. I know we gained 3 patrons this month, which was really awesome. But yeah, if we could gain 5 patrons a month, then I would be super happy about that. And it lets us make more content.
Totally. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the big shout out to everyone that was a patron. I love you all. So next question, actually speaking of a patron. Ooh, that was good. This comes from the BB King. Who says, why?
Who, what, when, and where?
Yeah, why is actually the funniest word in the world, where if you answer like any statement with the word why, it's usually funny.
One of the things I always like to remember is there's a rule of thumb that if you ask anybody why 5 times, you will make them cry. Like about like anything.
I think that's actually one of like Toyota's like business strategies is to do that. It's like the 5 whys.
Have you ever seen, there's an episode of The Adventures of Pete and Pete that I always remember where they keep getting substitute teachers and then one of the girls in the class just keeps asking them why when they say stuff, and it just pisses them off so much that they keep leaving to the point that like nobody wants to teach the class.
That makes sense.
That was a good show.
It was. Final question, I believe also from a patron, BS. What do you think about Cool Shock BT's sequel's one-shot announcement?
That's cool as fuck.
It's cool shock as fuck. Come on, Jordan. That was just pathetic.
It's cool and it's pretty shocking.
Try better.
BT.
But yeah, it was a really fun read. Shout out to Tucker who put us on our radar. We never would have really covered that series if he hadn't mentioned it. And it was such a unique, where it's still by 20 years the oldest series we've ever read.
Yeah. It's very difficult to find canceled series before a certain date. Like, honestly, it's tough before 2010 even. Like, it's... As we see, like, look how poorly this shit's translated, you know? Like...
Yeah.
And this one's lucky to even get a translation. But, I don't even know why they bothered.
Cool Shock BT, because it's by Araki.
Oh, I'm not talking about Cool Shock BT, I'm talking about fucking Bokke-san.
Yeah, I have no idea how this got translated. I would have dropped it, but I made sure that's fully translated.
Yeah.
Now I always check to make sure chapter 15, because we've had some where the first like 8 chapters are translated and they drop it because it's shit. So now I always have to make sure at least the first 15 chapters, because if you're going to do that, you're just going to do the whole thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I used to check chapter 20, and then some of these series didn't have a 20th chapter, so I had to start rolling that back.
All right, well, I think we got through all the questions.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's move on to shoutouts.
Well, Jordan, first of all, I want to thank you for editing this chibi episode and being just, one of the top 10 best co-hosts I've ever had on this podcast.
Oh, you're so sweet. Who's number 9?
Thanks, Tucker, for assistance with pronunciation, translation, other miscellaneous research. I feel like he's going to have a lot of fun with this one, because he's going to have to really push his Japanese to the test to figure out what the fuck's going on.
We're counting on you.
Be sure to join the Shonen Flop Discord. As we talked about, we have a great community. We're doing stuff like movie nights. We got a monthly comic book that we have a lot of, like, we did like a mini game show. We did a movie night where we watched Black Dynamite, and we had like 12 people. We're playing another one with the Anime Out of Context crew. Super awesome, like I said. I can't speak highly enough. Just 3 really terrific guys. And also, as we talked about, we would really appreciate it if you join our Patreon. It really helps us continue to be able to make this show and support us financially. We do spend a lot of time and money, so it would be great if you can give a little bit back. And I also want to give a shout out to some of our patrons. First of all, Pterodactyl Ghost for being a Chainsaw Man level patron. Super cool patron. They were like just doing it because they love the show. So they're like, yeah, you can cover the series I want just whenever you get a chance. So keep an eye out for that. I also want to give a thanks to Gabe, Mark, Marty, and T. Wolfwood for being King of the Forest. I also want to just give a special shout out to our Galactic Ball Federation, because I love you guys too, or I love you folks too, even if we don't talk about you as much, who are Alexander Zorak, BS, Dylan, Kreider, Megan Allen, Mike Carpenter, Sarah, Hydra.
Hey, Sarah.
Yes, Sarah was actually on the show, so that I'm just that good at convincing people to join our Patreon. Shingo Sekimoto, Silly Rookie, the BB King, the Trevor Schenker, and Yaji Black. So those are actually some names of people who ask questions. So not only are they contributing to Patreon, they're also asking us questions and being an active part of the Discord, which is super awesome as well.
Also, BB King, you're a great guitarist. Anyway.
So if you're not ready to make a regular commitment, we have merch. We, as we talked about, we have a super awesome Gomez shirt. We have a really great Mashal punching Harry Potter shirt that is also loved. And we usually are able to make the cover art for each episode up. We had some issues with the last one due to Pokemon copyright issues, but it was still...
Fucking Nintendo, man.
Nintendo was like, take that shit down. So unfortunately, not for that one, but for the future ones, hopefully. And though, no worries if you can't help our show out financially. If you can like, rate, review, or share, just even telling one friend or writing a review on iTunes really means a lot and helps us be placed better in things like the iTunes store where we can get more organic listeners.
I would like to thank you, David, for not just editing the main episode, but, you know, keeping this whole ship running, keeping it all afloat. Thank you. Thank you very much, man.
It's all right. I'm used to doing all the work, so it's fine. I went to college.
Oh, you went to college for the stuff that I hate doing, so
You're welcome.
I'm glad to have you so you can do it and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's nothing else here, I guess. Hey, David?
Keep on flopping, floppers.
Bye!
Bye!